Well, the journey really started for me in high school. My senior year in high school, I met several foreign exchange students from Spain and Brazil and Germany, and just really, as I got to know them, it was the first time I'd been around anybody from another country, and the more I got to know them, the more just a love for the nation started to develop in me. One of the girls that I met from Spain ended up moving in with my family and I, and it was just such a great experience. By the time she left, she and I were like sisters, and I was able to go and visit her the summer after my first year of college and spend a month with her and her family, and just really enjoyed that. And the more that I got to know about her culture, and just that love for the nations was continuing to grow. And I'd always also really enjoyed being around kids, but never knew kind of how those two things would combine. So I went up to Texas Tech and got my degree in elementary education. And while I was at Tech, I was able to go on a mission trip to Korea, actually 2 different trips. And even while I was there, I remember thinking, well, maybe I'll move to Korea. But then, came home, okay, well, I really love the people, but maybe not quite move there, finish school, and just keep seeing what the Lord has. And so finished at Tech and taught first grade for 2 years, and then there in Lubbock, and then the Lord opened the door for me to do campus ministry there at Texas Tech. And during that time, I was able to help with a international student ministry, and so during that time, I was meeting people again from all over the world and getting to know about them and their families and their cultures, and it just that passion for the nation just kept growing, and just a desire to go and be there long term at some point. But I still didn't really know what that would look like. After 5 years of campus ministry, I felt like the Lord was calling me back to teaching, and so moved down here to Midland and taught second grade for 2 years. And during that time, it was a pretty challenging 2 years, but the Lord really used it to grow me in a lot of ways in my faith. And at the end of that 2 years, just felt like the Lord was moving me out of that, but wasn't really sure what the next step was. So I ended up resigning from my job at the end of that second year, really not knowing what I was going to be doing. And that summer, ended up going to Romania with Stonegate, and through that trip, got to know some people, some of the staff, and just right after we got back from Romania, a position on the missions team opened up at Stonegate, and went and talked to them about that, and ended up getting to join the mission team full time at Stonegate. And it's just been an incredible 2 years, and I've gotten to go on so many different trips to Romania and Haiti and El Salvador, and I've gotten to see so many different things, seen the Lord working across so many different nations. And every trip I went on, I kind of would wonder, is this going to be the one that the Lord's going to call me to long term, and to come and live there? And still not really knowing what that would look like, but every trip kind of there was an anticipation, is this going to be the one? And really in the last 6 months, even wrestling more with what the Lord was calling me to, and had I missed it, was I not stepping out in faith? And then in September, I joined a short-term team with Mercy Ships to Guinea, Africa, and it just was an amazing trip. My little sister was on the team with me, and several close friends, and it just, we had several things that were unique for our team as we were there. Our team was able to stay on the ship, which most teams don't get to do, and as we were on the ship and getting to experience crew life, there's people, when we were there were 34 different nations represented, about 450 people, and so there's young, old, married, single, every different demographic that have all come to work on a ship with the hospital that helps people in West Africa. And it was just really neat to get to hear their hearts and the reasons that they were there, just to show God's love to the Africans. And the more that we got to know the crew and heard what Mercy Ships was all about, the more excited I was getting about just what they were doing and the possibility of me getting to be a part of that. Another thing that was unique for our team is when Mercy Ships pulls into a port, they go and they do a big screening day, and this happens basically once a year, and our team was there during the screening day. And so 4,500 people come from all over Guinea with everything from cleft lip to clubfoot to giant tumors in hopes that they can be helped. And these are people that have been outcasts from their family and friends, a lot of them, because their families think they have a curse or something like that. And so they come and everyone goes from the ship to help with the screening, and all day long it was doctors and nurses and the rest of the crew just putting their arm around people, looking them in the eye, taking the time to hear their story, hear where they come from, and you know, whether they could help or not. They took time to hear each person and to just to sit and listen and show God's love to them. And it was just such an amazing experience to be able to be a part of that and just watch people from all over the world come together for just the common purpose of showing God's love in a practical way through helping people that really have no hope and bringing the hope of Christ. So just throughout that day, so many times, just was in tears and just so grateful to be able to be a part of it. Towards the end of the trip, our team was given the opportunity to go and watch a surgery, which I had no desire to do because I probably would have passed out in the operating room. So while the rest of my team went and watched the surgery, I went to the academy. There's a school on board the ship for the children of the crew, so the doctors and nurses and cafeteria workers, everybody that lives on the ship, their kids, there's a school for them. And so I went and I visited several different classrooms and was just amazed because here there's kids and there's missions all in one place, which are the two big passions that the Lord has put in my heart. And I'm just so amazed that it's all together in one place on a ship in Africa. And so, you know, I just kept praying, and my little sister was there, and all week she kept saying, well, you should just do it, you should just come, and that was such a neat thing to have her there and have her encouraging me to step out and do it. And so I just kept asking the Lord what he had, and we came home, and for about 4 days after we got home, I read, I prayed, I researched, I journaled, and just everything that I read in the Word, and everything was pointing to the same thing. The Lord was telling me to go, and but I wasn't completely sure. Then Sunday morning, 4 days after we got home, I was reading my devotional for that morning, and it was talking about how we are designed to walk in close relationship with the Lord, and we can gain the whole world and lose what's really important. And that as we walk in that close relationship with the Lord, that it might take us down alien paths, but we shouldn't be afraid. But that's how God has designed us. And the scripture that went with it was Mark 8, where it talks about take up your cross and lay down your life. And then Psalm 139, all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. And so as I'm reading this, there was no doubt in my mind that this is what the Lord was calling me to do, that he was asking me to go to Africa. And so 4 days after we returned, I was certain that that's what the Lord was telling me to do. And for me to make a decision that fast, I knew it was the Lord, because that's not me at all. Normally I would want to have a long time to pray and think, but I couldn't deny that it was the Lord. So I started getting ready to do an estate. I applied with Mercy Ships, started getting ready to sell everything. Actually, my estate sale, I received my official acceptance letter from Mercy Ships saying that I would be teaching kindergarten on board the ship, and I'll go to med training starting in January, and it's just been such an amazing experience already, just seeing the Lord work out so many little details, and I'm not even there yet, and just seeing him work through my family and friends, and just his provision and his faithfulness. You know, as we as we say yes to God, He takes care of everything. I will leave Midland on January 23rd and head out to Lindell, Texas, which is close to Tyler, for 5 weeks of training before I go to the ship. And then we will have, once we get to the ship, we'll have 3 weeks of field-based training, which will be, I don't really know exactly what to expect, but I've heard there's a lot of hard work and sweat involved. But when I finish that training, I won't start the kindergarten position until July. I'll be doing a steward position when I first get to the ship, which is hospitality or kitchen, something like that, until July when I start my kindergarten position. And will teach kindergarten until May of 2015 is what the commitment is. And so I'm so excited to go and be a part of what the Lord's doing in Africa, and excited about teaching again, and getting to know my class will probably be between 2 and 6 students, so very small, and really looking forward to getting to know the students and their families and being able to be a blessing to them as their parents are also serving with Mercy Ships. I will come home about twice a year. I'll be home in April for my sister's wedding, and then I'll be home again next Christmas and then the next summer. So there's plenty of, I will be able to come home, and there's internet and satellite phones on the boat and Skype and all of those things, so I can definitely stay connected with home while I'm there. And I think more and more the reality of leaving my friends and family is setting in, but it's going to be hard, but it's going to be so worth it, and I know that the Lord will sustain just as He's already done in these last few months. And but I'm looking forward to the adventure, and but certainly will miss everyone that I'm leaving behind. I will be living in a room with 3 other roommates, which will be interesting, but I think that's actually the community is what I'm the most excited about, but will probably also be one of the most challenging things is being in that small space but I'm very excited about being with like-minded people and just getting to know people with a heart to serve, and I think it'll be just an incredible experience. Our room is on board the ship are quite small. I will be taking, I'll have a small closet, so I'll have clothes and my bedding, maybe a few books, but there's not much room. I've sold pretty much everything except some clothes and photos and keepsakes, but no, I won't be taking much with me. I think it'll be actually even during my estate sale, it was very freeing just to get rid of everything, and so I think the longer I'm there, the more I'll realize that, we really don't need a lot of stuff we think we need. Yeah, I think the hardest thing about leaving will be the people that I won't be able to spend time with while I'm there, but it'll just make the time that I am here even sweeter. The thing that I forgot to tell you that's very important about this story is there's a Starbucks on board the ship. And so, I think actually that's when I knew it was the Lord, when I saw that there was a Starbucks. It's the little thing. Emailene@yahoo.com, and there are satellite phones, and we can get calling cards, so it's very simple for us to call home. It's just a matter of setting up a time to talk. But it's not expensive, so I will be able to have phone calls, and will very much look forward to them. I'm certain of that. May of 2015, I can sign on to stay longer. I can come back home. I don't know. I'm just going to be open to what the Lord has at that time, and but I'm excited, whatever it's going to be.